Hello, Mount Rudmore here, and I am back to talk about BB24. First things first, if you can hear the air conditioner in the background, in fact, you can kind of see it right there, the edge of it. Uh, it's 86 degrees here, or 30 degrees for you Celsius weirdos. So it's hot. So I ain't turning it off. So you're just going to have to deal with it. But yes, I am here to talk about Big Brother. And we had an episode on Sunday night. And of course, there have been a lot of stuff that's happened on the feed since then. Um, First of all, I want to talk about what everyone's talking about, the episode itself that made the air. First of all, they spent 32 minutes, first 32 minutes of that episode, dealing with the HOH competition. And it wasn't until 32 minutes in and two, maybe even three commercial breaks that we finally saw who won. And it was freaking Jasmine. And that competition was just so ridiculous. Like, I've said before, my dad watches this show as a casual. He doesn't keep up with the feeds at all. So he hasn't seen why those of us who watch feeds or read updates, he hasn't seen why we dislike the season. So he dislikes it just because the whole thing has been really, really corny so far. And that episode was no different. I forgot to plug in my laptop. So, hey there. Thank you for being here. Happy to have you. Plug my laptop in so it doesn't die on me. I meant to plug it in before I started. That's my bad. So yeah, those are my only real thoughts on the episode itself. I mean, the competition took too long. The competition itself was really goofy, and they're not really showing just how hard Taylor has been othered in this game. In fact, if anything, the like her diary rooms, it's looking like she's kind of full of herself, but that's really not the case. Like that's not what she's like in the house. And everyone thinks she's full of herself, but she really isn't. Like it's just this perception that she has, and it's not fair the way that maybe some casual viewers might be perceiving her. Like they may think she's just completely stuck up. And I don't like that. That's not fair to her. As for my notes in my phone, I have a memo app. And the first thing I wrote was Daniel, smell this. Like the way he talks about women is incredibly creepy and makes me very uncomfortable. Like he was saying that Paloma would be smart enough, I guess, to be interested in him. Like that seemed to be the implications. Like, a woman's gonna be with you if she's attracted to you. But like it's not like she's gonna be like, oh, this guy. If I was an idiot, I wouldn't go for him, but I'm smart, so I would. Like that's not how it works. And even if it was, sorry, smell this, but you're no prize. Okay? You're just not. And he went on to say that Taylor doesn't deserve to live normal in the house. Like, she isn't. And I mean, like, I think he was referring to her being a have not and eating slop, but still, that's like, it's not a good word choice. And, like, the implications there are ugly. See the guy who thought Taylor was after him, too? Yep. But I'm trying to go in like the order I wrote them in my phone just to like be chronological. So believe me, we will get to that because Oh boy, that was a chaotic time. Like I woke up to that. That happened while I was asleep, and I woke up to it. So I had to piece it together like I was in Memento. But before that happened, though, like a bunch of people were hanging out in the HOH room, and uh, Taylor was coming. Daniel, Smelvis, and Amira, they literally go and hide as Taylor approaches. Like that is so embarrassingly petty. And I like it got to the point where I'm just like, I already blocked Smelvis on Twitter. He's the first Twitter I found. Well, second, I found Taylor and I followed her. Okay, third because I also found Michaels. I haven't followed him yet, but maybe. But Daniel, I saw his and I'm like, you're blocked. It's like this is just so childish. Like, why do you have to make another human being feel this way? I mean, you're not. You're doing it behind her back, but why do you have to be this way? Like, do you think it looks good? I mean, historically, people that get ganged up on or get a bum deal in the house for one reason or another, whether they deserve it or not, they tend to become fan favorites. Again, whether they deserve it or not. Like, it happened with Nicole in BB21. Everyone felt bad for her, and she won America's favorite. And like, she did get ganged up on unfairly. But then take Cody, BB19. He got ganged up on, but that was because he was a miserable jerk that no one wanted to be around. But it's like, well, he doesn't like Paul, so we have to vote for him up for America's favorite. I don't know if you noticed, but Cody didn't seem to like anything. The only thing he liked was Jessica. And she was just as miserable and hateful as he was. So yeah, they were a perfect couple. Now they have like 17 kids together. Oh, that's great. Oh, Scarlett just saw your comments. I hate people or groups of people that exclude others for stupid reasons. Yeah, Taylor's getting excluded for a stupid reason. Nicole BB21 excluded for a stupid reason. Cody was excluded because he was an a-hole, and he still is. Like that man has not said. Like, okay, he said one positive thing about the cookout last year. He's like, well, yeah, black people haven't had it good in this game. It's like, okay, guess a broken clock is right twice a day. But then, like 2 hours later, he said something stupid that negated it. So it's like, you're still in the hole, dude. I got excluded a lot when I was younger, so this is painful for me to see this. Yeah, I, I got excluded a lot when I was younger, and I still have trouble fitting in with groups. Like I will go as far as to say that I think people are actively excluding me. But it's like I don't feel like people are making enough of an effort to get to know me. Like I'm gonna be optimistic here and say that I don't think there are any people in my comedy scene that see me coming and are like, "Oh God, Nick's here. We gotta get away. I hope he doesn't sit here." Like I don't think that's happened to me, but I do know how it feels to have trouble fitting in, and Taylor is having trouble fitting in, and I feel for her. And like it's not necessary. But thankfully, Michael makes all of us feel a little bit better when he says that his ideal Final Four is him, Taylor, Indy, and Brittany, aka the current top four on the daily polls, and they're probably going to stay the top four. I hope nobody thinks that. You seem like a great guy. Oh, thank you, Scarlett. I appreciate that. But yeah, that's who Michael's Final Four is, and it's like he knows. He knows that Twitter loves Taylor for just how excluded she is. They like Michael because he's a nice guy. They like Brittany because she's got like a fun energy. Although I will admit she is not playing a great game at the moment. But Indy is just chaotic, and it's like we need that. And like sometimes it's chaotic good, sometimes it's chaotic evil. I mean, Indy's a perfect chaotic neutral, is what I'm saying. And, you live by the neutral, you die by the neutral. She's had some moments that I'm like, I don't like that too much. But she's still way ahead of at least 12 people in the house. I think last time I checked the poll, she was number three behind Michael and Taylor. Michael's number one right now, but he and Taylor have been trading off a lot. Yeah, Michael at least seems to know what the people want because this guy's a super fan. He knows who we do and do not like. And hello to my second viewer, thank you. Um, so Amira is talking to Nicole later on. Amira says that, well, basically she's just afraid to take a big shot. And it's like, why are you here? Like everyone's afraid to take a big shot too early, but usually it eventually becomes too late to take a big shot, you know? And she and Nicole are talking and they say, this is the names they say: Indy, Taylor, Brittany, Joseph and Turner should be next. First of all, three of them are pretty popular. Joseph and Turner, no one really cares about them. But you're throwing out a lot of names here, okay? Now, never mind. They're talking under the assumption that Pooch is still going to leave because he does still seem to be the target. No one gets far in the house by playing it safe. Exactly, Scarlet. Exactly. But yeah, it's like they're throwing too many names out there. Like they know or strongly assume Pooch is going, and then they have the next five people in mind who they want out. Like odds are that's not going to happen. Like the odds of those exact five people going out just because you say it now, pretty slim. And, Amira and Nicole have not won anything yet, so it's not like they have any real reason to to think they can control it. I mean, Amira is definitely pulling some strings, and Nicole is at least pulling Smelvis's strings. But yeah, it's like you can't just be like this one guy's going next, and then these five people are after him. Like, good luck if that's your plan. You're going to have to get a lot of people on your side and hope that the HOHs and vetoes turn out in your favor, and that no one becomes a bigger a hole in the meantime. Um, oh, yes, this was a good one. Nicole told Daniel her big secret that she used to be a cop. And she was like saying, "Oh, I'm not going to tell anybody this." And she even said after him, like after she told it to him, like nobody knows and nobody's going to know. And I'm like, somebody knows because you blabbed it and it's week two. And I know she trusts Smelvis, but I don't trust him not to give up that sort of information. I just don't. So yeah. And to be honest, I kind of hope that he blabs about it because, that'd be fun feats for sure. And always down to see a Final Two alliance crumble. Like, we thought the Final Four last year was going to be really boring with Hannah and Tiffany being the first two out of the cookhouse. We're like, oh, this is just going to be so boring. It's going to be Xavier and Kyland right to the end because Ozza and Derek F aren't going to win anything. But then Xavier's like, you know what? I'm going to take out Kyland. And things actually got interesting. And, like, the thing about admitting you were a cop in the Big Brother house, like, Derek, BB16, he was a cop. And he won the game pretty handily. And, a lot of people were impressed at the time, but now he has, shall we say, a divided reputation. I mean, it's debatable as to whether or not the game was just handed to him, but he absolutely handed BB24 to Cody, which he was not even on. He pre-gamed with Cody and a bunch of other people and just Cody was just set up for success. And it's like, who cares? Like that year, they were actually able to say, okay, these are the next 5 people who are going to be evicted. And it would just happen because no one else could win anything. Now, in Amira's alliance, that used to include Paloma, of course, Paloma's gone, she decided, and we didn't know this until the episode aired because the feeds were down from before Paloma left to after the HOH competition. So there was some game talk that went on in the meantime. And Amira replaced Paloma in the alliance with Nicole. And Nicole immediately went and told Daniel about this. And he was surprisingly okay with it, that there was a large alliance, a 6-person alliance. That's like the magic number for alliances. Like 6-person alliances do well in this game. The cookout was 6 people. And to a much less satisfying extent, the committee in BB22 was a 6-person alliance, and they were 6 of the final 7. So, like, Daniel took that fairly well, but it's just like, you know, if he does win power again, I hope he decides to take a shot at that group. Obviously, it wouldn't be Nicole, but, he could take out someone else in it. So, the episode goes HOH competition happens. 32 minutes in, Jasmine's finally crowned the winner. And Pooch decides to take it upon himself. He suggests to Alyssa first that he and Brittany should go up on the block as pawns and that they should do that just to backdoor Taylor. And Alyssa, who herself has already had a pretty stupid moment this season by thinking the happiest place in the world was Newark, as in Newark, New Jersey, when she was meaning to say Denmark. So yeah, that was dumb. But she actually showed a little bit of sense by pointing out that volunteering to be a pawn this early is a really stupid idea. And honestly, I think it's stupider to volunteer later. In fact, I think it's stupid to volunteer to be a pawn, period. Just don't do it. If someone is like, I'm going to need you to go up as a pawn, then, you grit your teeth and you're like, oh, fine. But you don't just volunteer it. Like, I don't really think Jasmine had even considered the second nominee yet. She was just like, Taylor. We're just going to get Taylor out. And then Pooch just tells everybody in the house, like, I'm just going to go up with Brittany. We're going to backdoor Taylor. He was just volunteering himself and Brittany, which was not cool of him. But yeah, he's just going around volunteering, and finally, Amira and Alyssa and Jasmine are talking, and they're just like, well, let's target Pooch, since he's given us a shot. So yeah, they nominate him, and they nominate him with Taylor. So he's a little annoyed that his plan didn't quite come to fruition because he wanted to go on the block to try and backdoor Taylor. Now he has to compete against her. But, he's still just like, whatever. The plan is get Taylor out. No one likes her. It's all good. So, yeah. Of course, we already know that Michael won the veto. And we now know that he kept noms the same. Pooch is still up there. So, yeah. He really, I gotta say it, he really screwed the Pooch. I don't like that I had to say that, but I also don't like that this show cast a guy who calls himself Pooch. That house needs to stop hating on Taylor, lol. Yeah, well, her standing in the house has actually started to change a little bit. So yeah, let's get into that. Uh, so that the house guests get alcohol. It's not a lot of alcohol because in the past that has led to some near disasters. Like I've heard of the guy who in season 2, I mean, he did it jokingly, but he pulled out a knife and talked about like, what if I killed you or something? And they're like, oh no, we're pulling this guy out of the house right now. He is out. We're not talking about this ever again. But of course, being in the Big Brother fandom, people talk about it forever. So yeah, they didn't give them too much alcohol. It was like 2 bottles of wine and a couple of cans. And this was just enough for Taylor to get wine drunk. And she tries to flirt with Smell This. Of all the people, you go for the second oldest guy in the house who has already nominated you for eviction and was targeting you, and you could have gone home had it not been for Paloma withdrawing. That's who she gets attracted to in her moment of drunkenness. Scarlet. Oh dear God. Yeah, exactly. And I think I heard something about she tried to flirt with Pooch as well. I didn't really find out too much about that. But like Daniel, her flirting with Daniel was the talk of the town. And I woke up that morning. Was it? Yeah, it was yesterday morning. I woke up reading about that. I'm like, oh my God. Oh, this is going to be such a disaster. But amazingly, she actually started, like, as a result of it, she actually kind of moved up in the house a little because, like they all actually kind of got a higher opinion of her from being drunk because everyone went from wanting her out next to wanting her to be HOH next because, like, I guess something about Taylor's just straight up honesty in her drunken state made them realize she is not going to be afraid as an HOH. She is going to go for the big targets that we're afraid of, like Monty or Joseph or Turner or maybe even Kyle. Well, Kyle is definitely lower on the list than them because everyone just kind of gets along with him. But yeah, they're thinking like Amira, Alyssa, and Nicole were talking about how a Taylor HOH would be just fine because they know they'd be safe. They're pretty confident that she would not target a woman, and I think that is true. I think the only woman she might have targeted was Paloma, and she's gone. I don't even think she'll target Jasmine, even though Jasmine just nominated her and has had a hate boner for her the whole time, just like everybody else. And I mean, I still kind of get the sense that Jasmine is begrudgingly on board with this Pooch plan. It'd be poetic justice if Taylor won HOH and put Monty up after he ratted her out to the other girls. Oh my God, that would be straight up fan fiction right there. I would love it. And also, while Amira, Alyssa, and Nicole are talking, Nicole mentions that Pooch threw Monty onto the bus as as an alternate name. Okay, at this point in time, the veto had not been used, but now they're talking about like they at least entertained the idea for a little while of maybe using the veto on Taylor and putting up a big target next to Pooch so that it'd be 2 big targets. And just like, you know, Pooch ratting out Monty. Like if Monty found out about that, then this was I didn't even realize. But yeah, if Monty found out about that, probably wouldn't be too happy. And that could crack this guy's alliance that is clearly formed. Like, you know, it's not uncommon to see a couple guys like bro out and get in good with a couple of the women in the house. But I mean, like, these bros just all gravitated to each other. And it's like, really? And like only in this crew would Turner be considered a bro with his long scraggly hair and the fact that he never seems to bathe other than swimming in the pool and turning it murky. Seriously, after Turner was in the pool, it looked like someone had poured a gallon of milk in it. Like, how did you do that? So from this conversation, like after Nicole said that to Amir and Alyssa, she goes on and tells Terrence that Turner cannot win HOH because he'll want revenge for them taking out Pooch. And that is not entirely incorrect. Like, I think uh, if Turner were to win HOH, which I do not want to happen, but I do think if he were to win it, I think he would put up, like, I think he'd put up Taylor, Jasmine, and either Amira or Alyssa as, like, a backup if one of them were to win the veto. So, yeah, they're just like, Turner cannot win. And no one wants Turner to win because he had so much bad buzz going into the house, and since he's been in there, he has done nothing other than not bathe. Like, he hasn't even bathed. That's how little he's done. He just stands around, he just hides all day, and then occasionally comes out, talks to someone in power, says something that might screw up the plan, and then retreats into his dumpster. And it's like, dude, just go, please. No one wants you here. And that deserves a sassy sip. It's orange juice today, by the way. But yes, we get to the veto ceremony. Michael doesn't use it. I was hoping he would use it on Taylor, but I wasn't overly surprised that he didn't. So I'm just like, I get it. I get the position he's in. He's won the first two vetoes. Daniel already knows he's a super fan. So, I get that Michael has to be careful that he doesn't make himself too big of a target. So Amira and Nicole are talking after this, and they're now saying that they would do Taylor and Turner as nominees. And I'm just like, just put up two guys. Use Taylor. She can be another vote to help you get out one of the guys. Like, I would put up, like, maybe Turner and, like, Joseph, and then pull one of them off with a veto if one of them doesn't win it themselves, and then put up Monty. But Nicole does go on to admit that she couldn't see herself targeting Taylor pre-jury. And I'm just like, let's hope she sticks with that because I would love to see Taylor make it to jury. Because if she does, I think her chances of winning America's favorite player at the end of the season will skyrocket. Because I just can't see Taylor winning this game. As much as it pains me to admit, I think even if she wins her way to the final two, whoever she's up against will just get the win because no one likes Taylor still. I mean, she's moving up a little, but I still don't see anyone voting for her to win over pretty much anybody else. Maybe Monty at this point. But I couldn't imagine one of those two not taking a shot at each other if they make it that far and don't win power. I mean, they can't make it that far without winning power, I don't think. I'm sorry for rubbing my nose too much. I just can't help it when I'm doing a stream. Um, this is a conversation that I liked. Taylor and Terrence. They were talking and they agree that Monty needs to go. I mean, Taylor doesn't like him because he ratted her out. And Terrence, he just hasn't really been, like, getting good vibes from Monty. That's what a lot of this season is. It's vibes and like he said, she said. It's, it's not the greatest Big Brother gameplay, but it's at least working against someone I don't like and that no one really likes. So it's not too bad. It's cool. Don't worry. Oh yeah, I saw this coming earlier. Oh, that sounds nasty. That was about Turner not bathing, right? I think that's what it was about. But yeah, Taylor and Terrence talk, and they agree. Turner and Joseph, whatever. He's not even Joe. He's Joseph. Uh, they say they should be the initial noms, and then Monty should be a backdoor. And I'm just like, that sounds pretty good to me. And like, I think Terrence is a bit of a follower. Excuse me. I think Terrence is a bit of a follower. He just kind of goes with the flow of the gameplay of whoever's around him. Problem is, he's been spending a lot of his time around really bad game players. Now that he's around Taylor talking with her, he's like talking some sense. He's actually making some good game suggestions. Oh, and now we get to the delusion of Pooch. Oh, Pooch. He's talking with his bros about how he thinks he and the bros caught a break that the women hate Taylor so much that they're just going to vote her out. But little do they know that they have been pulling the strings behind the scenes. From the moment he offered himself up, they've been plotting against him. And I am definitely enjoying the fact that Pooch is oblivious. Because who doesn't love a good blindside, you know? And this actually goes into the next point I wrote down. Terrence tells Taylor to act nervous so that Pooch doesn't catch on that he's the target. Like, I don't know if we will get a blindside, but Terrence at least seems to be encouraging it right now. And I'm just like, all right. I'm just like, this is the most I've enjoyed Terrence since he's been here. Like, he actually wants a blindside to happen. Like, thank you, Terrence. Like, I would not mind seeing Terrence move up a couple spots on the daily poll now. He deserves it for that. He won me over by by encouraging a blind side for Pooch. I love it. Oh yeah. So this isn't really game related per se, but it's something I've been thinking about. Um, Joseph is talking to Indy, and Indy tends to use Cat from BB21's famous catchphrase, "Are you bees conspiring against me? BITCH's conspiring against me?" And like Joseph has heard Indy say it a few times, and he says, "Hey, that should be your catchphrase." And it's at this point it is painfully apparent he has never seen the show. At most, he watched last season while he was in sequester, if that was even possible for him to do. Because it's like I'm trying to figure out, was Joseph an alternate, or was he just walking by the studio when they realized they had to pull Marvin because he's on America's Got Talent, and they just saw this muscular looking guy in a nice suit, and they were just like, "Hey, you want to be on Big Brother?" And he's like, "Okay," and they just brought him in. That's kind of what it's feeling like, because this guy just does not seem to know anything about the show. He knows nothing about the lore, the strategy, the popular contestants, or even the famously unpopular contestants. Cat's like kind of in the middle. Some people love her, some people hate her. Personally, I love her because I love the chaos that she brought to her season and still brings to BB Twitter every year. So yeah, I just I just don't respect Joseph at all. I don't think he's here to play. I think he's here to work out. Okay, now this this one, um, this one I really want to talk about. Jasmine, as we know, still injured. She's gone from a scooter to a boot on her foot for her sprained ankle. And she says that she shouldn't be nominated because she's injured. And Smelvis even agrees with this. And I'm just like, you can't get special treatment in the Big Brother house. That's not fair. Like, she's just expecting a free pass. I'm like, okay, so you can just ride this out. How far do you think this is going to get you? Will it get you to the end? I mean, will it actually get her to the end? That's what I'm actually afraid of now. But I mean, you can't only play the parts of Big Brother you like. Okay, you can't win an HOH competition. You can't nominate people. You can't do those things and have immunity from being nominated yourself. You can't do that. It's not fair. And I think, honestly, she shouldn't be there. Like, if that's her attitude, she shouldn't be there. And frankly, with the fact that her ankle's going to be in that boot for, I think I said something like 3 months at least, she shouldn't be in that house. She can't play the game fully and properly. That's total special treatment. Yeah, she might get a pass with the comps, but she still counts for elimination, surely. Oh, yeah, there is nothing official stopping them from nominating her, but they're just going to be like, oh, this won't look good to America. I'm like, newsflash, y'all already don't look good to America. I almost threw my voice out on that one. But yeah, the way you've all treated Taylor in this house, none of you look good. She should be swapped with someone else who almost made it into the house. I respectfully disagree with that. I don't think someone should come into the game this late with it already in progress. Like that doesn't sit right with me. But I think she should go home and they should cancel the elimination this week. As much as I want Pooch to go, like here is where I would possibly be willing to meet in the middle. There are going to be comps that Jasmine won't be allowed to compete in, just like Christmas in BB19 when she hurt her ankle. Except she actually like fractured it. But like there were comps that Christmas, for medical reasons, could not compete in. But she could still do stuff that was like a quiz or like a puzzle, that kind of thing. Like anything that wasn't overly physical, Christmas was allowed to compete. So here is where I would be willing to compromise on this. If Jasmine was able to compete in the HOH competition in the most recent competition on any week, if she was eligible to compete, she's eligible to be nominated. If she was not medically cleared to compete in that HOH, I'd be like, fine, we won't nominate her after that. But if it was like a trivia thing or like a memory comp, like she'd be allowed to compete in that. And if she doesn't win HOH, put her up. Like it shouldn't be like it should. It's not like that should not be allowed. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I agree with you. Okay. Yeah, see? I'm talking some sense here. See, I don't like Jasmine, but I'm still being as reasonable as I can be, considering that we have someone who's only playing half of Big Brother, basically. And here's another one. Monty, everyone's favorite. He's talking about how the women aren't talking game with him. And I'm just thinking back to how Taylor tried to talk game with you, and you ratted her out to Paloma immediately. And what's funny is he backed the wrong horse completely because Paloma cracked and had to leave the house. And Taylor's still there, and her gameplay is getting stronger every day. Her connections, her influence is getting better every day. She's not in the clear yet. I'm not saying there's a 0% chance she's leaving this week, but she's getting better at this game. She's getting a better position. So, like, he backed the wrong horse, like believing Paloma over Taylor, and he's just doubling down on what Paloma said and believing her. That's exactly what I'm saying, Scarlett. The last woman who tried to talk game with him, he sold her out straight away, and he wonders why no one will talk game with him. LOL. I mean, I think at this point, it's like that's probably the reason Taylor isn't talking to him, but Nicole is not talking to him because, like, when Nicole and Amira, I think it was Amira that was in there as well, but like it was Nicole who was the most vocally being like fighting his point to keep Pooch. Like he was just pushing so hard for it. And I was thinking, dude, this needs to make you a target. And it hasn't made him a target per se, but it's made him an option going forward. So, like, Nicole was just not having it. And Amira didn't seem overly on board with it either. I wouldn't talk to him if I was in that house. Yeah, I wouldn't talk to him at this point, that's for sure. I'd be done with him. And it's just like Taylor's standing and the house is growing, his is shrinking. And at this point, they're probably pretty close to each other. And if he just keeps on this train of how, like, he is so threatened by women. And I don't just mean threatened by the women he's in the house with. I mean, he seems to be threatened by women, period. Threatened by strong women, at least. I don't mean to sound like I'm bashing Paloma, per se. I mean, I didn't like her, but I'm going to say this as sympathetically as I can, considering what happened to her. The women in the house, still for the most part, seem pretty strong willed and strong mentally. Like they have a strong fortitude about themselves. Paloma, I don't believe she had a, a strong like will. I think she was going purely off of jealousy, and I don't think there was anything game related with it at all. She she went crazy with jealousy, basically, and it affected her game. It affected her sleep. She couldn't sleep, and that's why she had to leave. She was just stressing out in the house. That's the only real reason I can think of. Like I don't believe Paloma had the best mental fortitude because she was very well positioned in the house and still cracked under the pressure of being in there. Meanwhile, Taylor was being pressured by the whole house and fought through it. And she's slowly starting to move up. If Pooch does go, the women should go after him next. You mean Monty? Yeah. I think so too. But yeah, that's why Monty gravitated more towards Paloma. He didn't find her as strong as some of the other women. He's intimidated by Taylor. He's intimidated by Nicole. And you know what? He should be, because he may be a tall, muscular dude, but he strikes me as someone who's pretty weak willed as well. Weak of character. There it is. I said it. And I'm saying that to someone who was on my draft team. Yeah, my draft team. Taylor, Michael, Monty, Paloma, Pooch. Yeah. One of mine left the game, and no matter what, I'm losing another one this week. And I'm quietly hoping that Monty is the next target. So yeah, I rolled a couple gutter balls. Like, I'm proud of getting Taylor and Michael, but the other three have just let me down so badly. Poor thing, lol. Yeah, my brother, he got Daniel and Jasmine. First two HOHs, my brother got them. I'm cursed. Now, later on, Michael and Brittany were talking, and they both agreed they want to keep Taylor, and they both seem to want to work with her too. Like, they want to keep her in the game as long as they can. And I'm just like, thank you. Like, this is a dream team that people want. Well, like them plus Indy, but 3 out of 4, it's something. And honestly, I feel like all three of them need each other. Michael needs Taylor and Brittany because they could become targets sooner than him. Like, they could be shields for him. Taylor needs Michael and Brittany because they could both be interpreted as threats to their game. Michael with his competition wins, and Brittany with her mouth. And I don't mean that to say like she's like has a bad attitude. I mean she sometimes says the wrong thing and she gets ratted out immediately. And like that's not fair that she keeps getting ratted out. She can't talk game with anybody without getting ratted out, other than Taylor and Michael. But yeah, Taylor needs them because they could become bigger targets, like bigger threats. And Brittany needs people that can win cups. Now, Michael has 2 wins. Taylor apparently almost won the veto. Like, it was a close one. So yeah, I think the three of them could be good for each other. I think they all do kind of need each other a little bit. And if they get Indy in there, then that could be a strong quartet. And speaking of Brittany possibly doing too much, talking too much, um, she told Joseph that Pooch threw his name out as alternatives for, like, if the veto were to be used. He was saying, like, if you pull Taylor off and you want to put up someone who's a bigger threat, like Joseph, and he also said Monty, then, it is what it is. I'll do what I got to do. Or you do what you got to do because I'll be on the block. But, like he would accept it. So Brittany's telling Joe that Pooch threw his name out there as a potential replacement. Now, I think what she was trying to do was keep Joseph off her scent and try and build trust with him because Brittany's one of the few people in the house that acknowledges that Amira is playing a strong mastermind game. Like, Amira's pulling a lot of strings, and Brittany knows that Amira is going to be a big threat later on. And if she's able to build trust with Joseph, then that could possibly mean that he will target Amira before her and give her a better place in the game with Amira gone. And I'm like, that's not a bad strategy. Problem is, everything she says gets ratted out. Like whoever she gives some information to, it gets reported back to someone else. Like whoever she was talking about finds out. And I'm just like, this woman is cursed. She can't say anything without getting ratted out. And it's not really fair to her that that keeps happening. So, you know, it's unclear as to how this will work. Like, is she doing too much? Will it actually work out in her favor? Or will this just all be a big nothing? We shall see. All that matters is Brittany isn't nominated this week. She's not sitting on the block. She's not going anywhere this week. It's going to be Pooch or Taylor. Now, it's time to scroll through some updates, see what I can find. If anything big has gone down in the last 52 minutes and 16 seconds. I As I said, I follow Kat on Twitter. Someone put out there the suggestion that Kat should take over as host of Big Brother from Julie Jen. And Kat's just like, yeah, okay. It won't happen. If they are gonna get a past contestant to do it, it's not gonna be Kat. It's not happening. All right, let's check BB updates. The official BB updates Twitter at BB updates or Big Brother Daily. That's my go-to. No, they haven't had an official update since last night. Well, this morning for me, but you know. And now we check the hashtag, see if anything's gone down. Oh yeah, a lot of people are pointing out that uh, Pooch and Joseph are really, well, Pooch specifically is really flirty with Joseph, and I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it if it was two-sided, but it's like Pooch is just being kind of creepy about it. Which past contestant would you want to run the house if you had the option? Ooh, I mean, if we have to go with a winner, then it'd probably just have to be Dr. Will from season 2 because like he just established the whole concept of cutthroat gameplay. Like season 1, America voted on who left, and everyone hated it. Like the only reason Big Brother got picked up for a second season was because they promised it would be way better than the first season. Like Dr. Will made Big Brother what it is. Uh, but I honestly think the one who would make the best host, because it's someone that would just not be afraid to like call out everything that happens. It's just someone who watches the show. I don't know if this person watches the feeds too much, but they at least keep up with them. I have to go with Janelle from season 6, season 7, season 14, season 22. Yeah, 4 times she's been on. 4 times. And like I would not mind seeing her come back. First 2 times she came in 3rd place. Season 12 she came in season 14 she came in like 12th place. And then BB24 She came in 14th place. Yeah. The problem is Janelle is like an amazing Big Brother player. Problem is everybody knows it. So the sad truth is she's cursed to just never win Big Brother. Because historically, more often than not, the best players don't win. Like I talk about BB17, my favorite season. And don't get me wrong, I love Steve. He was a devious little SOB. But Vanessa was the best player that season. And she came in third. But that's just how it goes. I think that Janelle would make the best host because she would drag people as they deserve to be dragged. And, I just think that some of these people need to get Janelle in their face after they leave the Big Brother house for doing something stupid. So, yes, Janelle from Big Brother 6, 7, 14, and 22 is my pick. Yeah, here's what I love about Janelle. She just cannot contain her disgust when someone does something stupid. Like here, here is a picture of her from her most recent foray into the Big Brother house. That is a face that says, "Are you kidding me right now?" She would not entertain any of these idiots, other than Michael and Taylor. She likes them. And Michael's from Minnesota, just like her, and I think she actually watched the premiere with his fiance. So Michael doesn't. I mean, I wouldn't mind if Michael does win, but even if he doesn't, he's coming out to Janelle as a lifelong friend, and you know, no matter what, he's going to win in that way. Oh, I didn't even know today's Rockstar's daughter's birthday. Oh man. Oh, that was an iconic moment. Okay, Scarlett, I know you have no idea what I'm talking about, so allow me. Season 20, there was a lady in the house named Rockstar, and on eviction night, it just so happened to be her daughter's birthday. And one of the nominees was a guy named Brett. And before the eviction, before they decide who to evict, in his speech, he talks smack about Rockstar. And Brett does not get eliminated. A guy named Winston does. Winston leaves. And we get the shot of Winston. He's walking out. He meets Julie Chen. Audience cheers. And then we got cut back into the house. And Rockstar is yelling at Brett for dragging her name through the mud on her daughter's birthday. And she says that a lot. She's like, I cannot believe that on my daughter's birthday you would drag my name through the mud like this. And the whole time Brett's just like, whatever. Her actual name was Rockstar. No, that was not her actual name. Her her real name is Angela. But there was actually another Angela in the house. And she went by Angie Rockstar in real life. So in the house she was just Rockstar. And yeah, it was a pretty insane moment. It's just it's just one of those things that's forever in Big Brother lore. Oh, yeah. There's more stuff of everyone waiting hand and foot on Jasmine. It's like you can walk. Like they said, she had to stay off of it for a few days. It's been a few days now. She can walk again. Jasmine's like, "Can I have egg whites with bacon?" I doubt they'll do it right. Just like pepper, paprika, and brown sugar. Like, oh, okay. You want Nicole to wipe your butt for you again? Because that's a thing that apparently happens. Nicole straight up said, "Yeah, I wiped her butt for her. So what?" Like, she didn't break her hands. Oh, oh, this is interesting. Jasmine sounds really unbearable. She is. She's the worst in every conceivable way. Now, this I found interesting. Kyle just asked about making an alliance with Taylor. Michael said, not now. And someone else pointed out, because, like, someone else pointed out that if Michael agreed to this, Kyle would have run to Monty, who would run to Amira, who would run to Alyssa, and say he's in an alliance with Taylor. And she would have been out the door. And that is probably what would have happened. It was a small thing Michael just did there, but he probably just saved Taylor's life in this house a little bit, at least for this week. I mean, at the very least, he prevented that from becoming like a factor in in them deciding to evict her this week. All right, yeah, that's about all I got. I've been here over an hour anyway. So yes. Oh, now I get two viewers right as I'm about to wrap up. Well, I'm sorry, second viewer. Welcome, but I I was just winding down. But yeah, that was my Big Brother stream. The plan right now seems to be Pooch is gonna go, and well, I just want to run through the votes really quick. Um, it might be me. I had to reset the chat. LOL. Oh, well, okay then. No, then it's not a second viewer. It's just you. That's how it works. But yeah, right now I think the people who are definitely going to vote for Pooch to stay, like they'll vote to evict Taylor. I think it will be Turner and it will be Joseph and maybe Monty. It seems like they're kind of dragging him, kicking and screaming onto their side, onto the a vote. I did it again. Oh my god! Why do I keep saying a vote? Stop, Derek F. Get out of my head, you loser! I hate you. Oh god, I'm not doing it on purpose. I swear. But yes, Monty seems to be almost begrudgingly on board with voting Pooch out. Terrence, I was not sure about, but it actually seems like he's pretty solidly on board with voting Pooch out because it's like, he wants it to be a blindside. So, why would he want it to be a blindside you know, if he's just going to vote to evict Taylor anyway? That'd be very stupid of Terrence, and I would really dislike him. Like, he's actually gained a little bit of respect for me the last day or two, more than he's had the whole time, because he's basically just been wandering around the house. But at least now he's doing more than Turner is. Well, okay, he's probably doing as much as Turner, but like, I haven't liked anything Turner has done. At least Terrence, I've liked him the last day or so. And at least it seems like Terrence showers. Uh, Kyle is like a mole, kind of. Like, he's he's on board with voting Pooch out, but he's kind of keeping it on the down low. So I'm pretty sure that he will vote him out as well. Everyone else is definitely on board. Let's see, it's Amira, Alyssa, Brittany, Indy, Daniel, Nicole, Michael. So that's 7 right there. And 7, he leaves. 6, it's a tie, and then Jasmine decides. But I'm a little worried Jasmine might decide to just send Taylor home if it is a tie. Because I think she'd be afraid of the backlash if she had to get Pooch's blood on her hands in front of everybody. So we do not want a tie. We want there to be 7 votes at least to send Pooch out the door. And I'm feeling pretty good that he'll get 7. In fact, I'm feeling pretty good that he'll get at least 8. 9, it's possible. Actually, 9 is very possible. 10, I think if they can get it in a Monty's head that Pooch has to go. If they can get him to stick with it and realize that going against this would not be good for him, then, I'm going to guess it is at a minimum 8-4 to evict Pooch. Minimum 8-4. But yes, that will do it for this stream. Thank you, Scarlett, for watching the stream. And if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching that. And yeah, peace out.